Welcome back to another episode of Colonial Charter 1.6 beta inside of 1.0.5 beta of Banished. This is episode 13. I am Artbleed and we are getting down to business. So we're producing iron now. And I wanted to produce iron because when I have these outlying settlements here, like my hunter-gatherer, lumber collector, I like to use Ketchup stacking houses because they stack. But there's another kind of, it's not technically a stacking house, but it's kind of like a stacking house that is part of Colonial Charter, and I will show that to you later. Once these guys get built up, I set this house back way too far. Once these guys get built up, I will go ahead and start putting people to work out here in the fields. Oops, I deleted the wrong house. So it's a second floor house I need to put closer. There we go. Okay, there's something here that's stopping me. Is it part of you? Probably part of you. That's probably part of him. Alright, we're gonna move everything over one. Alright. I like to put the second floor of Ketchup's house down first, because they're the farthest to one side. It's the easiest to place. So there we go. So once these houses go ahead and get built, I will put in some foresters, a gatherer, some hunters. There has been an update to the Hunter's Lodge. I know a lot of people were complaining that Hunter's Lodge were getting mostly duck meat and feathers and were not providing enough venison or leather. That has since been tweaked. Your voices have been heard, and it does actually bring in a fair amount more of leather. So that's actually a pretty good thing. While the hunter was biased to duck meat, I had stopped using it in my playthroughs. And if you remember my last playthrough, I don't think I ever built a hunter. When I finally got my leather, I got my leather by having cows. So, which still don't provide that much leather, but it kind of provide enough. Now that the hunter's cabin is no longer completely biased towards ducks, I can rely on it for early game leather, so I can actually go ahead and use it. And along with Kralyerg's mod called clothes, I think it's just called plain clothes or just clothes or something like that, I can actually go ahead and make leather clothing from the tailor and not just leather jackets. So I got a house here, it's got people in it. I'm going to go ahead and start my forester working. As soon as these other houses are built, I'll put 2 people in each of these buildings and they can get going. So let's come back to our main village for right now. What I've gone ahead and done is put down a small fuel refinery and a small iron smelter. Now these buildings are really tiny, and this iron smelter, all it does is take iron ore and furnace fuel and make iron. The bigger iron smelteries actually make other products, including tin and copper and pewter and all that. But this one is just making iron just to get you started in the game. You can't really use the iron ore except for this guy over here. He makes rough tools with it. Once you start making iron, I can actually go ahead and get rid of this guy. And I can put in a much needed blacksmith. So I think I'm going to put him down here. Let's go ahead and plop ourselves a blacksmith. I like to set the blacksmith back away from the road. It's just an aesthetic thing. Give him his own road up here. And then I can set his stockpiles right in front of him. Now for this, I'm going to go ahead and use the individual stockpiles. I'm going to make an iron stockpile, and I'm going to make a wood stockpile, because these are the stocks he's going to need to produce his product. Alright, so we've got all 3 houses now. I'm going to put 2 people in the hunter cabin. I'm going to put 2 people in the gatherer cabin. Well, I thought I was. Here we got 2 people in the gatherer cabin. And now we're going to be bringing in food from over here. And eventually it'll get to the point where I can shut down my fishing dock until we start needing food again. I can use those people for other things. Now, there are a few new storage buildings that I'd like to share with you. One of those new storage buildings actually attaches onto people's houses, and those are called storage cellars. And they come in individual types, so you can have luxuries, clothes, tools, food, materials, fuel, and what is this? Medicine, sorry. And they literally just tack onto the house, and they match the houses. They have an F variant, so you can actually change them to look like different homes. And just stick them to the side of the house. And they will stick to any kind of house. Remember that F variant? You can even have them on the little houses. Another item is you can upgrade the magazine now, and once I get a big enough settlement, I'll go ahead and build a magazine and show you the upgrade. I believe it is an upgrade of the magazine that holds everything and not just the items that the magazine is restricted to. Additionally, we have these specialized warehouses. These warehouses are designed to hold specific materials in them. And they're kind of cool looking, and they're really great if you have something like a cannery row, or you're doing sort of like a manufacturing area. This one's for materials, and this one's for wood, for stone, for iron, and for fuel. And what is neat about these is you can actually plunk them together, and it kind of looks like a little factory with your materials on sort of the main entrance, and they kind of stick together. They're really, really neat. We're probably going to use those later just so I can show them off and show you how they work. Alright. We're going to need some more homes, and I was waiting until I had enough iron. I'm going to go ahead and put down... I'm going to show you one of my new favorite things. So I'm going to go ahead and build a salt box house. Here's a salt box house, right? These guys are cute. You guys love the salt box houses, but there are these new things. Now, keep in mind, these were not designed for the salt box houses. They were actually designed for the officer's townhouse and the family townhouse. Also new buildings. That's what the family townhouse looks like. There's the front. This is the officer's townhouse. That's the front. But they work on just about any buildings, and I'm kind of asking if they would make them for the other buildings, because it's additional housing, but it looks like you've just expanded the current building. They're called conservatories. This is the little building that is a conservatory. It tacks right onto the house. You can change the roof. Again, they were not designed for salt box houses, but you know what? I love them. So I use them on my salt box houses all the time. It works better if the salt box house is white, but if not, that's okay. Also, you can take these two dudes, and I'm going to do this just for the sake of argument. You just take one like that, flip it around the other way, change the roof, take one like that, stick it there, and you have this funny looking two-doored house. And two families can live in the space of one of these little tiny buildings. The roof looks a little funny, but it's a cute little house. So, I have room for people to move into there. And not having a homeless people. So those are just some funny things. Now, whenever I do stuff for you guys, my talents tend to not make sense. But what I do is I go ahead and show stuff off to you, and I make these items, and then once I'm done with the episode, I go back and clean things up. So those little guys are going to stay there for now, and then once I get some in between time between this episode and the next episode, I actually go in and rearrange how the town looks. I'm going to go ahead and push this guy to start building us some iron. I'm going to pull one of the fishermen and push you here. Excuse me. What else is new? Actually, for the sake of just education, I'm not trying to rush the series by any means, but I do want to but I do want to show you guys all the new stuff because, oh, I did not mean to do that. I do want to kind of get to all the new stuff so you can see them before I just drag you through the mud of a new game. I have no idea why I clicked exit. Don't accidentally click exit, people. Sorry about that. But anyway, there's a lot of new stuff coming. One of the biggest questions I get asked all the time is, when is the release date for 1.6? And the answer to that is, right now we are waiting for Luke, the creator of Banished, to push the 1.0.5 beta of Banished to a stable release. Once 1.0.5 becomes a stable release and is no longer a beta, then 1.6 Colonial Charter can be released. So basically we're waiting on Luke at this point. While this mod is not where we want it to be yet, believe me, there are a lot more things we'd like to do. There's still us having to wait for the game developer to actually get around to pushing 1.0.5 live and take it out of beta. Currently, he's in the process of working on the OS X port. So for those of you who have a Mac, you'll be, I believe, you'll be getting the beta pretty soon. So that's basically what we're waiting for, is for him to push the beta to be live, and that's why it's taken so long. As to when he's gonna do that, I have no idea. Ball's completely in his court. It could be in a couple weeks, it could be in a month, it could be the beginning of next year. Let's hope not, but I tend to look at it this way: the longer it takes for him to push the beta from the beta to a stable release, the more stuff we get to add for you guys to enjoy, the more time we have between this release and the next release. So I feel like 1.6 is probably going to wind up being our biggest release, because we have had so much time to add stuff and tweak stuff and fix stuff and get things going. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. In 1.5, I know you guys had a lot of seeds, a lot of duplicate stuff, 2 different kinds of lettuce, 2 different kinds of cucumbers. That's all been trimmed down for 1.6. We've actually pulled out unnecessary duplicates. If there's a seed that's been added to the game, it's been added because it is part of the production chain. Some people like having tons and tons of seeds. Many people don't. And so one thing we're kind of kicking around is taking all those extra seeds and possibly putting them into an add-on mod. No guarantees, but that's a very real possibility, seeing as there are a handful of people out there who want 57 different types of corn, you know, when everybody else wants one. Alright, that's going to be it for this episode. I didn't get a lot done, but I did give you guys some valuable information, and I also closed my game for reasons known only to me. Next episode, I will probably wait until next week. I'm still a little bit under the weather, so I'm pushing these out, and hopefully they will be up before Saturday. The week of Thanksgiving for the United States, that will be the week of the 28th. The last week of this month, there will be no videos because I have finals like a big dog, and I'm going to do those finals and take myself some much needed rest. So I hope you enjoyed the series. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Thank you for all your support and asking questions. Feel free to ask questions. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible, and I will see you all in the next episode.